Hey readers, it's Kaylin Shaner and welcome back to my channel. For this video, I wanted to do the AuthorTube Newbie Tag. So back on Halloween, I posted a video doing the spooky, scary writing tag. And the outpouring of love from you guys has been amazing. I have gotten more subscribers and comments, and I love hearing from you guys. And HappyReading commented, "What a fun tag. If you love writing, you should definitely do the AuthorTube Newbie Tag too." And I love that idea. My channel is more of a booktube themed thing, but I am an author. I am in the process, I'm in the beta reading phase of writing my novel and editing my novel, and I'll be self-publishing next year. And so this just kind of seemed right up my alley. So thank you, HappyReading. And here we go. How did you find out about AuthorTube? I first heard about it when I was watching Jenna Moreci and her writing and editing and publishing and marketing channel. I really loved the idea, and I knew that I wanted to start a YouTube channel. With my strengths, personally, as a reader and writer, booktube seemed to be much more my thing. But I still love talking about writing and my process and my projects. And so I kind of keep an eye out. I'm subscribed to several different AuthorTube channels, and then I took an even closer look at it when HappyReading commented on my spooky scary writing tag video, which is obviously an AuthorTube kind of video, more so than a booktube. But HappyReading commented and asked me to do this, or said that I should, suggested. What genres do you write in? My current novel that I had sitting on a shelf for 7 years. I wrote this thing 7 years ago. That particularly is a sci-fi fantasy book. So it's basically magic science, kind of like Stargate SG-1. I also have several fairy tale retelling ideas. There's one that I'm really excited about Rumpelstiltskin. But also I like to dabble in dark stuff. I have a blog that my sister-in-law and co-author Emily McGuff and I upload sort of sporadically whenever we get the idea for a good story, called Insane Fiction, and no two characters are the same, no two stories are the same, but it all takes place in this sanatorium that we thought up, this insane asylum, and it's just sort of this really creepy foray into the dark and occult and things like that. And then outside of the blog, I have a short story on Smashwords that I self-published there called My Pet Zombie, which very much follows the same motif, but maybe is more creepy in theory than it is in execution, because it's also got this cutesy vibe going on. I'm not entirely sure what I would classify that as, because it's kind of a boy and his dog sort of story, but with a zombie and a little ghost girl. Like a Victorian era little ghost girl whose name is Victoria. Sort of thumped you over the head with that one. What is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? Writing tense is definitely past tense. I have tried to write in present tense, in first person, but I inevitably find myself switching back subconsciously, without even trying, and then having to go back and edit, and it's just easier for me to write in past tense, because otherwise I will just have to fix it, because it will end up in past tense anyway. I have nothing wrong with present tense, my brain won't, it's not wired that way. I would need to rewire it in order to accomplish that. Definitely first person, and people have called me brave for taking that on and have warned me about the limitations, and while I understand that really limits the perspective overall, to me, I have always preferred reading in first person because it puts me in the story. And while that's harder to do, and certain things you have to avoid when you're doing it, it's way more relatable to me, and I don't feel brave for doing it. It just comes natural. Does that mean I'm good at it? I hope so. I'm not exactly going to brag about it. I mean, we'll see when the novel comes out and what people think of my blogs and stuff, but you know, I'm not saying that because it comes natural I'm immune to the pitfalls of it. Certainly a lot of editing has gone into my stories, but yeah, it just naturally, that's what I prefer, that's what I like, and that's just kind of what happens when I pour out my stories. I caught a cat! Can you sit on my lap? YouTube can't see you, but I would love you very much. Anyway, the third part to that question is I started out writing young adult because that's what I was reading at the time, and like I said, I started my novel 7 years ago. I didn't know new adult was a thing. I just knew that I wanted something that was young, with young protagonists, like my age, or maybe slightly younger, that I could write from experience, and that were relatable to me. But the older I got, and the more I grew up, especially out of the really reserved religious home I grew up in, and sort of came out on my own and came into my own person. The way I phrased that both times sounded weird. Anyway, the more I have wanted to shy away less, so I wanted to delve into more the idea of cursing and violence and sex. And I said that really weird. Sex! What's wrong with me? I just didn't want to sugarcoat my stories, and I wanted it to be realistic, and instead of saying, holy cow, or holy crap, or, you know, like, he leads me to the bed, and then that's the end of the scene, and then the next scene is her waking up, like, fully clothed. I think I literally did that in one of my scenes in a later novel. That is going to get edited very harshly later on when I make it to that particular book. But yeah, so the older I get, the more new adult appeals to me on many levels. So basically, like, a sexed up, more violent, more profane version of young adult, which I feel is maybe not an accurate description, but that's kind of what I'm looking for. Are you a plotter, pantster, or plantster? I'm assuming pantster here means, like, seat of my pants? Like, fly by the seat of your pants? I've never heard that term, and I'm assuming plantster is, like, in between a plotter and a pantster. I mean, makes sense. When I first started writing, I was very much a pantster. I didn't know what editing was. I mean, I did, but I didn't think that famous authors edited. I just assumed you were born with this natural talent that, of course, I had because I loved writing and I loved storytelling. And I had what it took to be great. And the greats didn't have to edit. So I just flew by the seat of my pants and wrote the scenes as they came into my head. And cutting? What was cutting? Like, my novel is perfect. I mean, sure, I needed to spell check it, but other than that, it was going to be an instant bestseller. And now that I've picked the project back up after years of schooling and practice and writing short stories and blogs and watching AuthorTube, and it's like, girl, what the fuck? What, you arrogant piece of shit! So now I'm like trying to deconstruct the whole story and replot the entire fucker and take out huge chunks, rewrite huge chunks, and write whole new chunks, and it's like a fucking puzzle that needs fit back together. I literally just hacked this baby to pieces and sewed it back together. So I guess you could say I went from a pantster completely, and now I'm a planster, sort of, out of necessity and happenstance. And when I pick up a new project, I will very, very much be a plodder. Are you a self-published, published, or yet to be published? Yet to be published? What publishing company, literary agent, and/or printing company are you represented by or use? If you are not yet published, what is your dream publishing house and/or literary agent? I'm going to do self-publishing through Amazon. What AuthorTube-related videos can we expect to find on your channel? Probably mostly tags, maybe a couple a day in the life. When did you start writing? I started writing before I started reading, I think. I mean, you know how kids are. You say you're writing a story and it's literally just squiggles on a page. And then it started to be a lot of fan fiction before I knew what fan fiction was. Like 8 or 9, I think. What was the first story you ever wrote? I remember my mom telling me about my heritage and how I was basically a human mutt. And like, I have Cherokee Indian in me, which you cannot fucking tell. My dad is super Irish. There's some German in there. And that always really intrigued me, that I had ancestors from different countries. And so I decided I was going to write their stories. I was going to write their biographies. Knowing nothing about these people, I sat down and gave them my own names and put them in countries they had no business being in. And like, I was going to write a whole series like that, and I think I only got one done, but I like colored in, it was basically like a picture book, and like I stapled it together, and it was reasonably thick for a kid that age to have made a book that long. And wrote about Katrina Tassmuller, a name I completely made up on my own, who was supposed to be some great-great-great-great-grandmother who I'm pretty sure grew up in Germany. And the cover of the novel is book, very small book, long for that age, but small overall. The cover of the book was done in colored pencil and was supposed to be the outline of Germany, and then it said Germany on it, but it looked like a really, really deformed puzzle piece. I had no idea what Germany looked like, so it was just squiggles. That's the first original story I remember writing. What authors have inspired you writing the most? Stephanie Meyer. That's always kind of a hot button issue with me. Like, I don't think her stories have aged well for me personally, but they had such a huge impact on my life as a reader and a writer, especially The Host, which I liked way more than the Twilight novels, and I was obsessed with the Twilight novels when I was a kid, preteen, whatever. Cassandra Clare, I love her shit and grew up reading those. Little House on the Prairie, Laura Ingalls Wilder was the one that got me into reading in the first place, so definitely huge influence there. And then recently, but also very, very profoundly, Jenna Moresi. Do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get to writing whenever you can find the time? I should schedule. I don't. I intend to, and then I don't feel like it, and that's awful. Do you type on a computer, typewriter, write everything out by hand, or use a blend of those? And where do you write in general? Computer. I started off with the typewriter when I was a kid because that's what my mom had. We didn't have a computer, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. After I went to live with my dad and the typewriter got lost in the shuffle of things, everything was on notebook paper until I kind of got used to using a computer. I think it was around 10th or 11th grade that I really started typing all of my stories out, and now I barely touch a notebook. And number 13, last one, what are you most looking forward to now that you are a part of AuthorTube? The community, I guess. Yeah, y'all are so supportive and beautiful and wonderful people, and I really love doing this and being a part of this. So that's it for my AuthorTube Newbie Tag. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you, Happy Reading, for requesting, suggesting that I do this video. If you guys have any more tags you want me to do, list it below in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit that little bell icon for notifications when I do post a new video, and I will be coming at you with some more BookTube tags, AuthorTube tags, and my regularly scheduled programming, new videos every Friday for Obsessive Immersive Disorder, where I go through books and find everything you guys are going to love, from t-shirts, recipes, fan art, music, and just all the awesome stuff that fans are going to love. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my website, KaylinShaner.com, and I will see you all soon. Bye!